Three words: God is dead. Were spoken by a 19th century philosopher and then later popularized in a book. These three little words launched a movement against God and attacked all that we Christians hold sacred. Three powerful words changed America, attacked our faith, our freedom of speech, our families, our religious freedoms, and it spread across our neighborhoods, schools, and college campuses. Hi, my name is David A.R. White, and I play a pastor in the upcoming film called God's Not Dead. An exciting new movie that I believe is not only relevant for today's culture, but has themes that are an ideal resource for churches to use in their outreach to non-believers and for ministry. I was one of the producers on this movie because I'm passionate about changing our culture for Christ. The title has three little words: God's not dead. Three powerful words that we pray will change lives and begin a new movement. God's Not Dead is a powerful story about faith and life events. The movie begs the question, when your faith is tested, can you explain what you believe? One of our actors, Shane Harper, plays a freshman who enrolls in a philosophy class taught by a notorious brutal professor played by Kevin Sorbo. In order to get a passing grade, Dr. Addison demands that all of his students sign a declaration stating God is dead. When Josh refuses to sign his paper, he's challenged by his teacher to defend his position in a series of debates. If he convinces the class that God is indeed alive, he gets to stay. But if he doesn't, he flunks the class. In accepting the challenge, Josh gets more than he bargained for, jeopardizing his faith, his personal relationships, and even his future.
I'm Professor Radisson. This is Philosophy 150, Introduction to Philosophical Thought. If either of those facts is news to you, then now would be your turn to leave. I understand some of you are here to satisfy your liberal arts elective requirements. If you're looking for an easy grade without much work, well then, now would be your turn to leave. So you've now enrolled at a university. You'll be expected to produce university-level work. I'm out. There's always one. Michel Foucault, Bertrand Russell, Ludwig Feuerbach, Bertolt Brecht, Friedrich Nietzsche, Ayn Rand, George Santayana, Democritus, Denis Diderot, David Hume, John Stuart Mill, Albert Camus, Richard Dawkins, Sigmund Freud, Noam Chomsky. And the list goes on. Philosophers, poets, scientists, authors, towering intellects, all of them. But what do they all have in common? Yes?
They're all dead.
Well, that would be incorrect. Mr. Dawkins and Mr. Chomsky are still very much alive. Mr.
G-Dog, Gerard Trigger.
Mr. G-Dog. Anyone else? No one. Well, they are, or were, atheists. Based on the 16th century French athéisme, from the Greek Dios, meaning God, and from the prefix a, meaning as it always does in Greek, without. In short, each of the thinkers I named took the strong position that there is no God, as opposed to the weak position of agnosticism. Gnostic from the Greek gnosos, to know, and again with the prefix a, meaning to not know, or more accurately, to doubt the existence of a supreme being. This semester I propose that we refuse to waste our limited time together debating the existence of the big man in the sky, the myth of a benevolent, all-powerful, supernatural being. This is, of course, a metaphor, but an illustrative one, meaning not that God has somehow died, but rather that he never existed in the first place. Other than in the depths of our forebears' imaginations, he was a useful fairy tale in ages gone by, when his fiery anger was used to explain away plagues and crop failures, diseases and disasters, which we now ascribe to bacteria and viruses, chromosomal disorders and plate tectonics. In short, science and reason have supplanted superstition, and we are all the better for it. And with your permission, I would like to bypass this senseless debate altogether and jump to the conclusion, which every sophomore is already aware of: there is no God. All that I require from each of you is that you fill in the papers I've just given you with 3 little words: God is dead, along with your signature. Assuming we reach a unanimous consensus, which I expect we will, I will be spared the tedious duty of slogging through dry and dusty arguments, and you will bypass the section of the course in which students have traditionally received their lowest grades of the semester. And when you finish, please pass your papers to the right. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, a lowercase g. Maybe this one ought to get extra credit. Thank you. Excuse me, Mr.
Wheaton. Josh Wheaton.
Mr. Wheaton, is something wrong?
Yeah, I can't. I can't do what you want. I'm a Christian.
No, don't worry. You can still go back to your dorm room and sink to your knees and pray at your bedside if you'd like. What you do in your personal life is your business, but what you do in this class is mine.
I can't.
All right, Mr. Wheaton. Allow me to explain the alternative. If you cannot bring yourself to admit that God is dead for the purposes of this class, then you will need to defend the antithesis, that God is not dead, and you'll need to do it in front of this class from the podium. And if you fail, as you shall, you will fail this section and lose 30% of your final grade right off the bat. Are you ready to accept that?
Well, who would decide whether I won or lost the argument?
Well, I would. It's not my class, my rules. Grading is my prerogative.
Yeah, no disrespect, but I'm not sure you can be objective.
What would you propose?
What about them?
Well, that's interesting, but why would I want to empower them?
Well, you've already won them over. I mean, I'd have to unconvince them. Get them to admit they were wrong.
All right. Mr. Wheaton, you'll get 3 sessions, the last 20 minutes of each of the next 3 classes, to make your case. I promise to keep my interruptions to a minimum. You may take whatever questions you'd like from the class, but it will not increase your allotted time. Of course, you'll be responsible for all the other class assignments. But, you could change your mind and bring in your signed statement at our next class, and we'll go forward as though none of this ever happened. The rest of us, having dispensed with primitive superstition, will turn our focus to the issue of being in reality for our next class. Please have read David Hume's The Problems of Induction, René Descartes' Discourse on Method, to which you may add Bertrand Russell's Why I Am Not a Christian, in preparation for Mr. Wheaton's lecture. And in thanks for his failure to help us reach a unanimous consensus.
This kind of scenario is really happening in our colleges today. Not only are students being persecuted for their Christian faith, but they're being challenged to defend the very existence of God. Every scene has a message and teaches a lesson on how important it is to be equipped and prepared, to be able to defend our faith with boldness and courage, and trust that God has his best for us. We even have part of the cast of the hit show Duck Dynasty in our movie, Willie and Corey Robertson. Let's take a quick look at a scene where they're being ambushed by a reporter.
Why do you wear those heels?
What's wrong with them? They're
You're
beautiful.
too tall. You're taller than me.
I'm big enough to handle it.
Just saying, I don't want to be the short guy at the prom.
Mr.
Super
Robertson.
tall.
Hi, or should I call you Willie?
You can call me Willie.
Amy Ryan. I vlog the new lap. Can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, sure. Fire away. This is my wife, Corey.
Hi. I know. I'm actually surprised to see you here. I thought you'd be home. Barefoot and pregnant.
I've been barefoot and pregnant in a really long time. I do kind of miss those days.
Yeah. You want to start again? We can try.
No.
You've made a fortune selling devices that are designed to lure waterfowl to their death.
I guess when you say you, you're referring to the whole group of my family, which will be y'all. You can just change it to y'all. That'd be an easier expression. That way it'll get everybody in there.
So, y'all have made a fortune. Isn't that right?
We're doing all right. We can certainly buy bigger tires on our trucks and four-wheelers to get out in the mud with, so life is good.
What makes you think you have the moral right to go around maiming and killing innocent animals?
Hey, look, let's just get one thing straight. I ain't maiming nothing. Whatever I see and I aim at, I shoot. When I shoot it, I kill it, and then I eat it.
So you do kill those ducks?
Of course I do. What we're gonna do, cook them while they're still moving around? That would be cruel.
That'd be bad.
So this isn't an act. You're actually proud of what you do.
Of course I am. Why would I do it if I'm not proud of it?
And you go along with everything he says?
We've been married for 20 years. I don't go along with everything he says, but on the things that matter, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So what do you say to people who are offended by your show, not just because of the hunting, but because you openly pray to Jesus in every episode?
Hey, we're not trying to offend anybody, all right? If they don't want to watch the show, they can turn the channel. As far as my praying to Jesus, my life and my whole eternity belongs to God. All this stuff is temporary. Money, fame, success, temporary. Even life is temporary. Jesus, that's eternal. Jesus said this, whoever acknowledges me before men, he will acknowledge before the Father in heaven. Whoever disowns me, I'll disown him to the Father. Now those words are written in red, so they're important.
And that's it?
That's it. That's what we're going with. Pretty simple, isn't it?
Thanks for your time.
Come on, let's go do some acknowledging.
All right.
You're welcome to join us.
No, thanks. I'm good.
Good?
Thank you.
All right. Who was that lady?
As Christians, we're called to be bold in sharing and living out our faith, to acknowledge him before men. Jesus is not calling his disciples to be lukewarm and ashamed, but to acknowledge him before men and encourage others. We're called to be salt and light, to persevere under persecution and be set apart, not be of this world, not love the things in this world, or be unequally yoked. But more than ever, we need to declare that God's not dead, he's surely alive. We produce this movie as a resource for you and your congregation and hope you'll find it to be a useful ministry tool. Please encourage other pastors, youth pastors, and ministry leaders to see this movie and use the numerous segments as teaching tools. This is a great opportunity to reach a younger generation by using a thought-provoking movie that will make them think about their faith and their walk with Jesus. Thank you for letting us share our important message with you. The idea for God's Not Dead started as a song with our friends the Newsboys. It became a book with our partner Rice Brooks and has now become a movie. Our heart is to help your congregation experience true freedom and power over evil through an abiding relationship with Jesus Christ. Remember these 3 important words: God's not dead.